Okay, so it's been a while since I posted anything. Yeah, I've been through a lot the past few months, so I won't say I wasn't able to upload. I just didn't. There's two things I learned about myself that for 20 years went slipped under the radar. So, turns out I have autism and ADHD. Great. Well, I already had my time to cope with it. I found out a while ago. Uh, I just didn't want it to be true because, nowadays they use that type of shit as an excuse to, act in whatever the fuck way they want and, people on TikTok and shit. But, I have good friends. Some in the same country as me, some outside. Kind of just reassured me, I am who I am, doesn't matter. ADHD really presents an obstacle when it comes to just getting to do certain things, Even if I want to do it, it's more than just laziness. It's how do I put this? It's like but like the engine, the key, it ain't twisted. But I can really only do stuff like this, it seems, in short bursts, I'm not very articulate. I end up talking for longer than I planned. It's whatever. And I must not want to write scripts either. That's just long. It's a read the script. Like, I can make notes, sure, but before this ends up spiraling into a 20-minute video, I'll get to the point. I was just watching a few videos and I realized something. I spend a lot of time thinking. And if there's something I've noticed, other people have mentioned this as well, but I don't think there's any particular country. I just think generally around the world, there's a mental health crisis going on. And some people might say, oh shit, some people might say, no shit. But, really, this is just to discuss the things I've noticed, Charlie Kirk, as we all know, recently got shot. Very unfortunate. Shouldn't have happened. There's not much else to say. But also, as we all know, many people celebrated it and tried to bring up a bunch of bullshit points that, honestly, to me, when I looked into it, just, again, a bunch of bullshit. And most of us are united and agree political violence is dumb. If you can't speak your mind... I remember Rowan Atkinson, I think that was his name. Honestly, I'm not really good at that. He did a talk about free speech a while back, and he was talking about how some people would say stuff like, I am not intolerant, I am only intolerant of intolerance. But if you stop to think about it for more than 5 seconds, that doesn't represent any kind of progress at all. You're just trading one kind of intolerance for another kind of intolerance. If you want to restrict something because you're offended by stuff and you're going out talking about how this is offensive and stuff, humans populate the world in the billions. Not everyone's going to have the same definition of offensive. The moment you start using that kind of argumentation, someone else comes up with their own definition of offensive and tries to censor something else. Someone else has their own definition, censor something else. And then someone comes to censor you who was trying to censor someone else. It's it doesn't really end, so you need free speech. But how can you have free speech if, you're getting shot for your opinions? It doesn't matter if you agree with him or not. I think everyone can agree with that. Even people on the left are agreeing, no one should have to get shot because you disagreed with someone. Those are points people have made. I don't need to dwell on it anymore. But I kind of needed to bring that up as, as a framework for where I'm going next. The person who shot him, I don't know anything about him really, but I just, I don't know anything about him, obviously. I don't know him. I'm not even in the same country. But from what I've seen, not of just this guy, but of many people who are shooting people generally, they aren't really reported to be mentally sound. I've seen people talk about how gun control and stuff is necessary, or at the very least, get rid of guns. Again, I don't live in a country that allows for you to have guns in the first place. But as someone who's living in a country that you could probably tell by my accent doesn't allow guns, the violence doesn't end because you got rid of guns. I can understand the sentiment. In fact, when I was younger, a few years ago, I used to again, I have American friends, and I was thinking, I'm kind of glad to live in this country that we don't have guns because I can run from the knife. But that's very short-sighted. It's very short-sighted. Guns are the optimal form of defense. With a knife, if you want to defend yourself from anything, you still need to get up close. And when they warn about knife crime, they always talk about if you hold a knife, be prepared to get stabbed. At least if you have a gun, you don't need to have any sort of physique to be effective. Just bam, bam. Whatever. You can say that's easy for me to say. I don't live in a country of guns. I've never seen it. But then what about the people who have and still agree with me? But moving on, people believe guns are the problem. All I can say is guns make it easier. Sure. But guns aren't the problem. Here's a simple fact. I'm pretty sure guns have been around in America for way longer than the last 10 years. Yeah, it's in the last 10 years, give or take a few, that the gun violence has really started to skyrocket. I mean, here's the thing. If you get rid of guns, you just reroute the problem into something else. Like, I don't know. Like, when you take medicine to deal with symptoms of your disease, like you got a cold, a lot of the times, unless you're taking antibiotics, a lot of remedies don't deal with the disease, they just lessen the symptoms, like maybe a headache, a fever. These types of things aren't even caused by the virus or bacteria itself. It's your body in its attempt to fight them off. It needs those responses because high temperatures, for example, can kill bacteria and stuff like that. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. You don't need to get rid of guns, because even if you do get rid of guns, because you treated a symptom, you haven't addressed the cause. Why is the gun violence happening? Like, if you even stop to think about the logic there, guns are the reasons is the reason for people going out and shooting people. It's like, it makes it easier to do it. I mean, obviously you can't have gun violence without the guns, but do you really think people are looking at the gun and going, yeah, because the gun exists, I'm going to go use it to shoot someone? No. Where's the logic in that? It doesn't make sense. Like, no. People have motives to do certain things, but a person of sound mind doesn't go out to shoot someone else. They don't go out to shoot someone else because a lot of people aren't smart enough to get away with it. Simple. And a lot of people are self-aware to the extent they might not go out and say, I'm not smart enough to get away with it, but they'll be thinking of the what ifs. Most people run through these different scenarios and they're like, yeah, I don't want to get caught. If I get caught, I don't want to go to jail and waste my life for this shit. But doesn't that then mean that the people who are doing it, in most cases, some people just don't give a fuck, But in most cases, the ones who are going out to do it, they aren't right in their head. They might not be completely batshit insane where they can't talk and shit. But like, that one person, transgender person who went to go and shoot up the church, or church, Catholic, something like that. Church might be the wrong term, but the point is, kids died. They weren't mentally sound. It wasn't a trans issue. It wasn't a gender issue. It wasn't an issue about any of them. Race, gender, doesn't matter. That person just was crazy. Right, left. Yeah, sure, they said some things that might make you think they drift one way or another. But many people on the right or the left don't go and shoot people. So then what is it? It's not because they're just on the right or on the left. It's just because they're crazy. As Mongold said it already. And I really was just thinking about it. And it kind of just frustrates me to see short-sighted thinking on the internet. It's gonna happen, sure. I mean, the world is dominated by people who think emotionally. But it is disgusting in a lot of cases, because if you can't balance the two, you end up with cases like with Charlie Kirk. Like, I don't know, again, the person who shot Charlie Kirk in detail. I'm not gonna psychoanalyze someone I've never met properly, but that you just don't make that decision if you're in your right mind. Like, I mean, come on. You don't like his ideas, and you know what really grinds my gears. It grates my nerves, grinds my gears. Same thing. It's the people who are like. There was this one woman who was advocating for the death of other people, because like saying to kill his family as well. And there was another person who's British as well talking about how if they were trying to bring up some sort of metaphor, talking about how if you're being attacked, you need to attack them back. I don't understand how that equates to Charlie though. Charlie wasn't attacking anyone in a physical manner. No one needed to be in fear of their lives because Charlie was speaking. And a lot of the times when people talk about the things he was saying, they bring out of context clips where context really mattered the most. Some people will say he's homophobic, transphobic, but then I go and see clips of him being in support of them in a sense of he's religious, he's a Christian, so I don't. So of course he's not going to agree with the lifestyle, but he's going to welcome you to the cause. I myself don't. I was raised in a Christian household. For the majority of my life, I did believe in that kind of stuff, but I was different in that I started to question things. I don't know. I couldn't reconcile my predisposition to question everything with the things that I was reading in the Bible and stuff. You know, I didn't even read the whole thing, but I've read enough to be like, this don't make sense. And it's not even the miracles, bro. It's the beginning. The very beginning don't make sense. And the fact that there can be so many different interpretations, it's like, well, anyways, that's just to say I myself don't care what a person does because they're not me. But even though Charlie Kirk doesn't agree with the lifestyle, it doesn't make him all those different phobias. And in fact, are we even using that word correctly? Homophobic, all this bullshit? Isn't a phobia an irrational fear? If you hate someone, is that a fear? Some hates can be caused through fear, but most people who hate others don't even do it because they're scared. They're just mentally ill. Anyways, as I said, I just wanted to get my own thoughts out there. You know, I think rather than even focusing on fretting about being consistent, because this ain't going anywhere for a while, I will just post shit whenever I have something to say, which might span out months, might span out weeks. It just depends. But this was too big an issue for me to really just not say anything. I had to kind of just say something. But I have now. And that's all. As for where I'm going to go with this, well, wow. Knowing about myself a bit more has allowed me to plan accordingly and do things that work with my brain instead of against it. But unfortunately, even bearing that in mind, I still end up clashing with myself. I really wished I could have filmed my playthroughs with games like Wuthering Waves. Like 2.4 came, 2.5 came and went, and 2.5, oh, that shit was absolute cinema. I had debates with my friends about it, and I had debates online about it as well. Rover was right. Rover's not a hypocrite. I stand by that. Frolova was wrong. She's not wrong for caring about her family, but I mean, and well, not just her family, but the villagers in general, but to the extent that you're killing other people. Oh no, that one, Chief, bro. No, that one. But sure, she was hurting. Anyway, though, 2.5 is already gone. We don't need to talk about that anymore. 2.6 came. Well, still here. And, well, I've already played through most of it. I'm waiting for Ayuno to come out. You might even hear the Zenless Zone Zero music in the background. I wanted to play a bit of that before I went to play Wuthering Waves. I'm waiting for Ayuno to drop. I don't even know how to pronounce her name in English. I play in Japanese, so like, you know, when I hear the name in Japanese, I just say it the way they say it. But that is gonna do it for me. I do hope I can post something else soon. Probably not gaming content. Honestly, this is a personal thing, but I I really want to get something done regarding this arrangement I have. I really need to, well, I actually have a lot of money saved up. I just need to converse and talk to my mum about certain things. And maybe I can find a way to get some space to buy a PC because I have the money. I've been saving since 2022 for my jobs that I have, that I'm very fortunate to have. If I can get that done, work up the courage to, just talk with my mom about stuff. If you're wondering why I need to talk to her, it's because I'm very impulsive. It's like, yeah, I'm just very impulsive when it comes to my spending habits. Like, I can save, but then forget I have certain commitments and stuff, and then I spend the money. But fortunately, I have been saving. If I can get that done and buy a PC, maybe I can actually put some gaming content. Because there's honestly many games I would like to just record myself playing and put up there. But honestly, the way the landscape is changing is. There's honestly other forms of content I could put up. Sure, maybe TikTok, maybe I'm not on TikTok though. If I'm being honest with you, short form content isn't my forte. I mean, I'm at 16 minutes, even though I was saying I shouldn't go to 20 minutes. I said I was gonna do it for me, isn't it? All right, for real this time. I'm out.